The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club was founded in 1948 by a group of World War II veterans in Fontana, California. What began as a countercultural group with few rules has, over 7 decades, transformed into one of the most infamous and feared outlaw motorcycle gangs in the world. Their activities now span drug trafficking, arms smuggling, extortion, and violent crime, marking a significant shift from their original image as free-spirited bikers. The club's dark evolution from as early as the 1960s, the Hells Angels have been implicated in high-profile crimes. The club's reputation was further tarnished by allegations of gang violence, including a gang rape in 1964 and the killing of Meredith Hunter, an 18-year-old concert goer, at the Altamont Music Festival in 1969. While the Hells Angels publicly claim they are simply motorcycle enthusiasts organizing social events like road trips, rallies, and charity fundraisers, authorities view them as a structured criminal enterprise. The murder of Joel Silva. A chilling case. One of the most shocking events in the club's recent history is the 2014 murder of Joel Silva, a sergeant-at-arms for the Sonoma chapter. Silva, once a respected member, was targeted after allegedly threatening to kill another club member. According to prosecutors, his growing drug addiction and increasingly erratic behavior led to his downfall. In July 2014, Silva was lured to the Fresno clubhouse under the guise of resolving internal grievances. Instead, he was shot execution-style in the back of the head by Fresno chapter president Brian Wendt. His body was then disposed of in an illegal cremation at a local funeral home. The Pizza Oven Code investigation uncovered a chilling method of body disposal used by the Hells Angels. Testimonies revealed the use of a pet crematorium and a funeral home's incinerator to dispose of Silva's remains. Club members reportedly used a code phrase, putting a pizza in the oven, to refer to illegal cremations. The funeral home owner testified that he was coerced into allowing the use of his facilities, even witnessing bikers bring a body for incineration. This practice wasn't limited to Silva's case. Prosecutors allege that other members who fell out of favor with the club, such as Robbie Huff and Art Carzes, who disappeared in 2015 and 2016, met similar fates. These grim discoveries paint a horrifying picture of how the gang dealt with internal disputes. The trial and convictions. The trial, which lasted over 2 months, exposed the inner workings of the Hells Angels through the testimonies of informants, some of whom were former members who turned against the club after being severely beaten. Cell phone records, witness accounts, and FBI evidence linked Silva's murder to Jonathan Nelson, the Sonoma chapter president, Brian Wendt, and Russell Lyle. All 3 were convicted of murder in aid of racketeering and face potential life sentences. Prosecutors also presented evidence tying Silva's murder to a larger conspiracy. Nelson and other high-ranking members allegedly approved the killing to maintain the club's strict code of loyalty and control. The defense attempted to undermine the credibility of key witnesses, accusing them of lying and exaggerating their accounts. However, the jury ultimately sided with the prosecution that a broader pattern of violent Silva's murder is not an isolated incident. The investigation into his death uncovered a broader pattern of violence and intimidation within the club. Prosecutors detailed multiple cases of witness tampering, violent beatings, and other crimes aimed at silencing dissenters or settling scores. One informant testified that the club would often vote members out bad, a process involving severe beatings or worse, as punishment for breaking club rules. The human cost. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of Silva's case is the impact on his family. Silva was planning a birthday party for his 15-year-old daughter at the time of his murder. Instead of celebrating, his family was left waiting for days for news that never came. They were unable to hold a proper burial for him, as his remains were never recovered. The Hells Angels today, despite these damning revelations, the Hells Angels continue to maintain a dual image. Publicly, they organize charity events and motorcycle rallies, projecting themselves as misunderstood outlaws. Behind the scenes, authorities argue, they operate as a violent criminal organization, capable of extreme measures to protect their power and secrecy. The Silva case is a stark reminder of the dangers of this shadowy world. It reveals how loyalty, control, and fear are maintained through violence, even against their own members. For Joel Silva, stepping out of line cost him his life, and for those who orchestrated his death, justice has caught up, but not without uncovering more chilling truths about the Hells Angels' brutal methods. The killing of the Hell Angels Joel Silva gained a great deal of attention once again in 2022 when 3 members of the motorcycle club were convicted of his murder, while Ryer was convicted in May 2023 of conspiracy to commit murder in aid of racketeering, along with multiple related charges. Per the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Northern District of California at the time of this writing, he has yet to be sentenced but faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. The convictions were the end of an explosive trial in which the accused criminals had their actions laid out in a court of law, and as the prosecution's case unfolded, other brutal crimes came to light, with details even emerging of the gang's grisly method of allegedly disposing of the bodies of those they killed. In October 2023, prosecutors alleged that former Fresco chapter member Merle Heerman was instrumental in disposing of the bodies of Silva and others in a local crematorium, which the gang came to know as the Pizza Oven Lay. Phipps, the manager of Fresno's Yast and Webb Funeral Home, testified in court that in 2014 the bikers had told him to leave the business incinerator open and was held at gunpoint as they used it to dispose of a body. In total, prosecutors alleged that the gang attempted to use the crematorium to dispose of the bodies of 4 murder victims. Thus far, Heerman has been sentenced to just 4 years in prison for obstruction of justice. How can these people even think about disposing of a human body in a crematorium? Joel Silva was once a member of them, and still they did this to him, just for a threat that he made. And that wraps up today's content. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.